Welcome to Session 19, the Authorization, Review, and Approval Process for Elderly Waiver, EW, Customized Living Services, CLS. This course will give an explanation of how the LTC screening document and service agreement are used to authorize and approve the customized living services and 24-hour customized living services for the Elderly Waiver Program. This process does not apply to the Brain Injury, BI, or Community Access for Disability Inclusion, CADI, programs. The MMIS Manual DHS 4625 gives information in Chapter 301.26 on this process. You may also contact the DHS Resource Center at dhs.resourcecenter@state.mn.us for questions or problems working with service agreements. If you have not used MMIS before for service agreements, I encourage you to first see the following sessions that will help you with viewing or data entering service agreements with this service. 2, for logging into MMIS. 3, for basic navigation. 4, for using the PF keys. 14, for an introduction to the service agreement purpose and impact in the MMIS. 15, for the steps to inquire on the saved service agreements. 16, 16A, and 17 for data entering and resolving edits if you will be entering the service agreement. I am showing the MMIS ASA3 screen of a service agreement already entered and saved. Before we talk about the line items, we will start with the LTC screening document and explain its role with authorizing the service. I've already entered the screening document into the MMIS and can see it by moving the cursor to the word Next on the top left hand of the screen. While the cursor is on the word Next, I use the F4 key, which takes me out of the service agreement and into the screening document file. If the person had more than one saved screening document, I would be on the selection screen with the list of all the documents. But only one document is saved. I'll navigate to the ALT5 screen by typing this in the Next field and use my Control key. This screen shows the services the person was offered, is receiving, or will receive through different funding sources. The 2-digit number identifies the service, while the funding code identifies how it will be paid. These funding codes are informal, I, no money is exchanged, the person receives the service for no payment. Formal, F, a program is paying for the service, such as medical assistance, Medicare, Title III funding, the waiver, alternative care, or essential community supports program. Quasi-formal, Q, a small fee, such as a stipend, is paid for the service. Customized living services, C, identifies the services provided by the CLS provider, only used for CL services provided under the Elderly Waiver Program. Moving Home Minnesota, M, services provided through this program. Offered, O, services offered to the person and was declined. Some edits that could post are the code values that can be used with the C funding source are 01, 04 through 8, 52 through 62, 64, or 86. If the person will receive 24 hours CLS, the codes are 58, 59, 60, or 86 that must be used to identify the reason 24-hour CL is needed. Any other service code with the funding code C will post an edit. Edits will also post if the ADL fields on the ALT3 screen do not support the need for the 24-hour code. Also, the Personal Emergency Response System, number 52, cannot be coded as a C or F if the 24-hour codes are present. And note, when you are entering an exit screening document, do not erase the CLS codes. The service agreement will check the last approved screening document with the date within the service agreement header for these codes. When CLS is added as a line item on the service agreement, edits will post against the line item if the screening document ALT5 screen is not coded for CLS. Or the line item is for CLS, but the screening document authorizes 24 hours CLS or vice versa. Check the procedure code. Compare the service with what was authorized on the screening document by navigating to the screening document in the same way as I did. If the screening document is wrong or incomplete, leave the CLS line item in suspense, save the service agreement, enter a new screening document with activity type 05 and dates matching the last opening or reassessment, and update the ALT5 screen. When approved, return to the service agreement, use the F9 key, and the edit will be resolved. Now let's return to the service agreement. I can use either exit key F3 or F6 to exit out of the screening document. I am showing the ASA3 screen on the service agreement again. You may view older service agreements that ended before July 1st, 2016, which shows a monthly procedure code T2030 for CLS and T2030 with modifier TG for 24-hour CLS. Line items beginning July 1st, 2016 use daily codes T2031 with no modifier for CLS and T2031 with modifier TG for 24-hour CLS. A service agreement may have a combination of CLS and 24-hour CLS lines as long as both periods do not overlap. The line items will remain in suspense for DHS review and approval. You are not able to approve these lines. You may approve other services if no edits post on those services. Edit 414 is the routing edit that allows the service agreement to be placed in the DHS queue 584 the next day. In order for edit 414 to post, all edits with the suspended or denied status must be resolved. The exceptions are edit 140, which may remain, and any informational or forced edits. The header status must be either an S for suspend or a T for partially suspend when there is at least one approved and one suspended line item. Save the service agreement. The following day, you can enter into it in the inquiry mode to view the current location date fields on the ASA1 screen. A successful routing to DHS location 584 and the date would be shown here. If your agency number is in the current location field, instead, it means the service agreement did not route to DHS. Check the service agreement in the change mode and correct any suspended or denied edits to allow the edit to post. DHS staff have up to 5 working days to either approve the line or route the service agreement back to the County of Service Agency for more information. The reasons why line items cannot be approved or the daily rate is reduced are: the Residential Services RSC workbook is not entered. Be sure to enter the workbook 1 to 2 days prior to entering the service agreement. The RSC workbook is entered, but has errors that need to be corrected. Be sure to review the error list after entering the workbook and resolve problems as soon as possible before entering the CLS line items. The approved RSC workbook does not cover the line item dates. Adjust the dates on the workbook or service agreement, or add a new workbook to cover the CLS line item periods. The daily rate on the approved workbook is not the same as on the service agreement line item. The workbook rate may be different by pennies, but will be returned if the rates are drastically different. Edits are now posting between the time the service agreement was routed and when it was reviewed. The service agreement will be returned for lead agency staff to resolve the edits. These circumstances, if not corrected, will send the service agreement back to the County of Service Agency by the DHS reviewer, placing the 3-digit agency code in the Override Location field on the ASA2 screen. A message on the DHS Commons screen will explain what is needed. Once received, lead agency staff will resolve the workbook and/or service agreement problems to allow Edit 414 to post on the service agreement for rerouting. Add messages to the DHS Commons screen as needed. Remove the agency's code on the OVR location field. With Edit 414 posting, the service agreement will automatically route to the DHS queue again. This same process is used when adding a CLS line item to an existing approved or pending service agreement. The CLS line will remain in suspense, and the header status must be in S or T for Edit 414 to post and route the service agreement for review. This concludes Session 19. If you have questions or comments on this session, please use the survey found on the Aging training page.